Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Discriminating Gamer. You know, the other day, my boss came up to all of us at work and said that a customer had complained that one of us had bad posture. I had a hunch that it was me. Today, we're taking a look at the solo game Wreckland Run by Renegade Game Studios. Okay, so to play Wreckland Run, I pretty much have the game already set up for Chapter 1, all right? I've got my car, I've got my driver, I got my 3 upgraded cars, all right? Now there's 3 rounds in the game, all right? There's your wreckage and then your run for every round, okay? So I'm going to start off doing a wreckage, I'm going to do a run, repeat, and repeat, and then the last one you're going to go up against the big boss, okay? But the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and do my wreckage. Now, I have 7 cards that I get to try to buy, all right? Now, based on the envelope, okay, because I'm in Chapter 1, so based on this envelope, I did get 1 free confetti cannon that I can equip anywhere on my card, and I choose to put it right there. All right, I've already rolled my dice, and I'm playing on normal mode, which means I have 2 scrap. Okay, scrap is just additional dice that you can use, but they don't count as a red if you use them. They're theoretically a white, but if you play them on your cards out here, they also do count as, you can use them as a perfect dice as well and still get those perfect bonuses. Now, what I get to do is I get to spend all these dice, and I'm going to buy cards. And the cost to buy the card, if you look, is going to be down here on the bottom. So in this case right here, I have to spend 3 dice that are of the same number. And I can use scrap as well. Now, when there's 2 dice on a scrap card, you only get 1 of them. So in theory, if I wanted to, I can spend this 2, plus I can use this red 2, and I can use this white 2. Okay, and what that's going to do is that's going to allow me to be able to buy this card. All right, and then I can equip it, say, right here, because I can put it in the corner. It works in 2 quadrants, and it does some ramming for me. And this is a good card for ramming. This card gets discarded, but because I used this red dice right here, okay, now I have to come over here to this wreckage chart and I got to roll it and see what happens. I got a 1. On a 1 through 3, no effect. On a 4, 5, and 6 during the wreckage phase is when something bad's going to happen. I might have to put damage over here. Okay, now the other thing I can do instead of just buying cards is I can spend a dice and I can put a dice over here to heal. So say I had some damage on this right here. If I put a perfect dice over here, I can heal and remove all damage. If I put a higher dice, then I can only remove 2 points. And you can never remove die or damage from your core. And if your core ever hits the damage equal to what it is, in this case is 10, you lose the game. Okay, so if you can try to use as many dice as you can, the less red dice you use, the better you are. Now, you do have these 3 upgrade cards, and there's 3 slots on here that are pre-printed. If you were to, say, put some over the top of them, then you can no longer use the upgrade card. But now these upgrade cards, okay, they're just going to give you better abilities than what they currently have, but their cost is on the back. Okay, so in this case, I have to use 4 dice of the same number for that one, and you just look on the back and see what they are. Okay. Now, I'm going to keep doing this until I've spent all my dice, used as much as I want, and then I've built as many things for my car as possible. Now, if you want to re-roll any dice, you can take any card on here you want, just discard it, and then you can re-roll any number of dice that you want. Okay, so that's a way to re-roll to try to get some more stuff down. All right, otherwise you want to just try to use as much stuff as you can. So like say this card, I just need a pair. I'm going to take both these 6s. All right, I'm going to take this card, and let's just put him over here in this corner. It does have a ramming on this side, which, you know what, actually, I think what I'm going to do is put him up there, and I'm going to put this over here. That way I can utilize the ramming on this side. Okay, and I still have a 5 and a 4, and I still have a 1 and a 3 that I can use here. Now, you want to try to fill out your car as much as possible because that's going to give you that many more places you can actually utilize dice. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do at this point in time is, well, this card here, let's go ahead and do this. So this card means I have to use dice equal to a 9. I have a 5 and a 4. Look at that, it's ramming here, ramming here. This is going to allow me to repair if I use perfect dice. We're going to do that. We're going to put these here, and I don't have to use those. Easy peasy, we're done. Okay, now that's going to take care of the wreckage phase. Now we're going to go over to the run. In the run phase, what's going to happen is we look here and it says we have to have 2 cars in the back, the left side, and the 1 car in the other sides. So we're going to put these 2, we're going to put 2 cars here. All right, let's get these dice out of the way. All right, we're going to put a car here. Now, sometimes you got to pay attention. Some of these cars will say that, they might have you deploy other cars in certain areas or something like that. We put 1 car there. Oop, that's damage. And we're going to put 1 car there. Okay. I still have my scrap, which is a 6 that I can use whenever I want. All right. And then we're going to roll our dice. Okay. And I'm missing a red dice. Oh, my red dice is right there. Okay. Now, to do this, the run phase, what you have to do, and here's a little example how to do it right here. We finished the wreckage already. All right. Now we're going to do our actions. Okay. Now our actions, what it's going to do is you're going to do step 1, which is you got to place a red dice. And then step 2 is you're going to place up to 1 through 3 white dice. You have to place at least 1. And then you're going to repeat this, okay, 3 times until all of the red dice are used. And you're done taking your actions. At the end of that phase, if there's only 2 cars left on the field for you to fight, if there's 2 cars or less, then you end and you go to the next round. Okay, but as long as there's more, if there's 3 or more cars, then you re-roll the dice and you have to go through all 3 phases one more time. Now, the first thing you have to do is you have to assign a red dice. And what you're doing is I have a 2 and a 6. Okay, so I have a 2 up here and I have no other 2s and no other 6s. So we're going to assign this 2 to here. Now, what that's going to do is it's going to activate this car, and if there were any other 2s, it would activate all of them as well. Now, if I can't match a dice, then I have to come over and I have to roll on this run phase, which, as you can see, does nasty stuff. So I'd roll the dice, and yeah, you're probably putting a bunch of damage down your car. It's going to be super horrible, and you don't want to do it. But this car, what it basically says, I'll put the 2 there, and it's going to say, you're doing 4 damage, and I get to assign to where it's going to go. So this can take 4 and it's dead. This can take 4 and it's dead. This can take 4 and it's dead as well. I'm like, oh my gosh, that is absolutely horrible. So you know what? I'm just going to assign it to one of the locations. Normally, I would just put some of these out because that's the damage. Well, in this case, it's going to be 4, so that piece is going to be destroyed. I cannot repair it while I'm in the run, but I can actually try to repair it in the wreckage phase if I spend a pair of dice. Okay. Now, after a car gets done attacking, it moves to the side. Now it's my turn, and I can spend 1 to 3 dice. And so what's going to happen is I get to look at the different abilities that I have on my cars. All right. I do have my scrap, which is a 6 as well. Okay. And I get to see what I want to do. So for example, say I put this 4 right there. I can attack, because it's corner, I can attack this side or I can attack this side. I do not like this 4. I do not like him, but he takes 5 points of damage to kill. Now, because this is a perfect dice, I get to use this middle one as well. And so what this says is I'm going to do 1 point of damage to 1 car, and I'm going to do that 1 point of damage to him. This guy has a red shield underneath him with a 1 on it, so he actually would absorb that 1 point. But then it says I'm going to do 2 damage to everything on this side. So he's actually going to take 2 more points of damage. And he's only going to take 1 because he does have that shield. And that's my first dice, and I can keep going again. All right. Now I have this 6, and I have this 2, 3, 4. All right. And I can figure out what I want to do. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep playing my dice. Okay. Let's say, you know what, for example, let's just say I'm going to use this 4 right here. That's going to do 2 points of damage. He has shields of 2, doesn't do anything, but it'll do 2 points of damage to this guy with a 6. And and then I can draw an enemy car from the deck and add to my scrap pile. So I am going to do that. So now I have a 5 in my scrap pile as well. All right. Let's see. So this is going to do 2 points everywhere. This has a 3. I'm going to use this 3 right here. Okay. Which is going to do 2 more points of damage to him, for example. So now he's down to 2, but I also get another scrap. Now I have a 4. So I have a 6, 5, and a 4. Now I've spent 3 dice. I can spend scrap because scrap doesn't count. So if I want to, I can utilize that. At this point in time, I don't want to. So now we're going to go to phase 2, which means we take up all the dice. We're going to re-roll them. And now what we have to do is we have to assign 1 of the red dice again. So we have a 5 and a 6. There are no 5s and 6s. So I'll just take this 1 dice here. We'll roll it. It's a 4. I deal 2 damage to a part of my choice, ignoring all shields. Well, that's kind of a bummer. But you know what? I know I have a 1. I know I have a 6. Let's see. I'm just going to find this. We're going to put it right here because this takes 5 points of damage. You know what? I'm going to put it over here because this thing can take 6 points of damage. All right. And so what we're going to do is you're going to keep doing this. Assign your dice as much as you can. Now, the other thing you can do is you can assign dice to this middle. Okay, so to ram, you can assign any dice, doesn't really matter what it is. And what that does is you count up the number of red bars on one particular side. So say I want to ram this side over here. I got 2 red bars. Okay, so I'm going to do 2 points of damage, and I can distribute that however I want. Now, 2 points of damage will kill this guy, and he has 5. So I'm going to assign the 2 points of damage to this guy right here. Now, if you kill a car and you hit and you deal as exact amount of damage as this, you get added as your scrapped. So that actually worked out really good for me. And the other thing you need to pay attention to as well is your driver. So in this case, my driver basically says if I do a ramming action, I damage every vehicle in my rear for 1. He has a shield, so he won't get damaged, but he will. And at this point, you know what? I don't want to do anything else, so we'll go to phase 3. All right, so we have a 4. We have this. I'll assign the 4 to here. Okay, now this guy can do 2 points of damage. All right, and I'm just going to go ahead and do the 2 points of damage up here, but then he is going to rotate all the way up front. But I also have this 4 over here. He's going to do 3 points of damage, and I'm going to assign, you know what, I'm going to assign that 3 points of damage over to here, which puts it at 5, but then he comes down here to the back. All right, I have this last 4. I think this 4 I can't assign here. There's nothing on my side. I can assign it here. It's not perfect, but it lets, well, see, and it would do a point of damage here, which actually won't do anything. So you know what? Yeah. At this point, I think what I'm going to do then is I have nothing in the back I can do. I have a 5 right here. I think I'm going to take this 5, and I can actually assign this 5 up here, all right, to this, which is a perfect match. And what it's going to do is it's going to do 1 point of damage to everything up here, which he's a 6. Okay, let's get rid of this card right here. And then I have, because it's a 5, it's a perfect. It's going to do 1 more point of damage, which kills him. So he comes off, all right, and this dice comes off, and then he goes into my scrap pile as well. Okay, I still have my 4. I don't have anything to do with my 4. I can actually do a ram, which would do 1 point of damage. I can do 1 down here, and then it's going to do 1 to everything, which would do additional 1 more. Okay, you can also use, or actually no, I can't use the 4 for the, yeah, the 4 was the ram. Now, if you have a 1 or 2, you can put a 1 or 2 on this bottom section down here, and that allows you to re-roll dice, allows you to save over a dice, or add or subtract 1 from another particular dice. But now, because I still have 2 or more cards on here, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up all these dice, and we're going to do this one more time. I'm going to go through all 3 phases, and we're going to keep doing this until my car either is destroyed or there's only 2 cards left. If it gets down to the point where there's only 2 cards left, then we come over here. These cards will all go away, all right? And I'm going to set out new cards that I get to buy, and we're going to go then do the run. And we're going to keep on doing that until we can complete all 3 of these rounds, defeat the boss, and whether you defeat the boss or not, that's going to be able to complete your scenario, and then you'll be able to move on to your next chapter. Win or lose, I believe you do advance on to your next chapter. And that's how you play. Okay, so folks, that was a real high-level run-through of the rules. I know it was a little bit long, but there's really a lot going on in this game. There is a lot of decisions to be made. There is, I mean, you know, not a ton of icons. So, I mean, when you look at this chart, there's not a super ton of icons there. But there's a lot of different stuff going on the cards. And you're getting 6 or 7 cards every turn that you get a chance to be able to buy, maybe some in chapters, maybe even more. So you kind of really want to pay attention to what's there, what they can do, how are they going to work on your car. You know, you may want to buy some cards that are going to be able to try to move them around, get those cards in different positions. You know, like for example, I know like in chapter 1, it actually says for Big Fossil that if there's, at the end of every round, when you finish all 3 phases, he's going to go to wherever the most cards are. So if you happen to have a card that will allow you to be able to move and shift cars to other locations so you can free him up and do damage to him, that's a great way to win the game. That was one of the strategies I employed when I won this. And this is a hard one to win, I will tell you that. Dice hate me, and boy, I'll tell you what, this is a tough game to win. You have really got to plan your strategies. But I'll tell you what, the rewards for this game is phenomenal. I really, really like this game. When this game first came out, it's cars, it's post-apocalyptic, but it's not racing, but it's kind of racing. So it's a little bit different take on all that genre. So it was one of those games that really sparked my interest, but I missed it when it first came out. Luckily, Renegade Game Studios, the folks there, the nice folks, they sent me a review copy of this just so I can show you guys how it plays and really fully understand this game. And I'll tell you what a fabulous game this is. You know, it's done by Scott Alms. Scott Alms has done some just amazing stuff going forward. And in the past, I actually love a lot of the stuff that he's done. One of the cool things I do like about this game is I like how every chapter is kind of split up into 3 rounds. Every round you have the wreckage phase and then you have the run, okay? So you really got to pay attention on that wreckage phase of making sure you don't have any damage on your car going into it. Try to make sure you have as much scrap possibly going into the run phase as possible, but getting your car set up and getting your car set up early. You know, if you go into a run and you still have a whole bunch of empty spots on your car, you know what, you're going to be hurting a little bit because you don't have as many dice as you can place. So you really got to pay attention to that. But then again, you also got to pay attention to making sure that, you know, all the cards that you put out and put on your car don't have, you know, like really low damage numbers. So like, you know, if you can only take 2 or 3 points of damage for your cards, you may blow up fast, or that damage is going to go to your inner core. All right. You may need to get some cards out there that can take 6 damage, or maybe they have some shields. So you got to really pay attention to that. And you really want to try to get numbers diversified across the board. So you don't want to make sure that, you know, all the cards that are on your car, if they're all like nothing but 3s and 4s or 1s and 2s, well, you know what? You better hope you roll a lot of 1s and 2s, or you happen to have that in your scrap. So you kind of really got to pay attention to all that as well. So the building of the car every single round, I absolutely love that. Trying to figure out, how am I going to do that the best? Do I want to use my upgrade cards and put those on the car? Do I want to ignore the upgrade cards? You know, a lot of times I don't put the upgrade cards in there the first round because I want to fill those empty holes. So maybe round 2, round 3, I'm going to start putting them in. But the cost for those is a little steeper than some of the other cards you may put in. You know, how are you going to be able to put your cards on that particular car? How's your driver? You know, is your like one of the card, or the car that I showed you in my example, he was really good at ramming. So I wanted to make sure I bought a lot of cards that did good on ramming, okay, because I can utilize that as much as I can. But you know, if I had another car that really didn't do much ramming, well, I might not care as much. Okay, so you kind of have to play that out. So just because you play the chapters with one car doesn't mean it's going to play out the same if you use a different car and a different driver, because that different car and different driver, they're going to play different. Now, is it astronomical different? Not a ton, but it is different. The cars do play a little bit different. The drivers do play a little bit different. So you really got to see how those play out. And you know what? It's kind of fun playing through the chapters and then going back and then playing through them again with a different driver, different car. Okay, that's the one thing I do like about this. Absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely love it. I like how when you go from chapter 1 to say chapter 2, then what's going to happen is you're going to have a whole bunch of different the cards and everything, except for maybe the big boss. I mean, they're going to carry over. One of the things, and you know, and for example, this game, it has 7 chapters. So every single chapter, you're going to be opening up a new envelope, okay, and you're going to be adding more new stuff to your game. Okay, I don't want to show you what any of that stuff is. Hide it. But that is one of the cool things I like about this game. It's a solo game and it's a campaign game. But the thing is once you've run through the whole entire thing once, if you want to go back and play just individual chapters, go up against individual bosses, mix them up. I mean, each chapter kind of tells you what boss you're going up against and how you're going to play it. So you can go play whichever ones you want. You're totally fine with that. If you just want to open it all up, throw everything in and do it, I mean, it's your game. You can do whatever you want to do. But I absolutely love the way the chapter sets up in this game. I love the dice placement. I mean, the way these dice work. The red dice, do you want to risk using the red dice in the wreckage phase or even in the run phase? Well, you have to use them in the run phase, but in the wreckage phase, do you want to risk trying to buy those parts and rolling that dice and maybe damaging your car more? You know, when you're playing the red dice during the run phase, you know what, I can play it on this. It's a 4, and I'm going to activate 3 cars, or I'm just going to be able to roll on the boss chart. Yeah, maybe that's one of those where, you know, you might use a dice that you can just roll on the boss chart because you don't have any cards out there that are going to match it, because that might overall be less damage than what you may be taking, okay, otherwise. You know, that's one of the things that you got to really weigh out. You got to determine the best way to do it for you. It is a phenomenal puzzle. It is great fun. Absolutely love this game. This was such a phenomenal game experience for me that I just kind of want to go back and play it again. It gets you thinking, scratching your head, just trying to figure out how in the world. I mean, I keep looking down because, I mean, even though I'm talking to you about this, I just want to play it again. I really do. Absolutely great. Love this game. Okay. Boy, I don't know what more good stuff I can actually say about this game. The components are top notch. I do like how on the journal they have little tabs, so you can actually go to every one. They've got a great little story between all the different sections. You know, really good there. You know, just a nice selection of cards. Cards you're going to race up against, so you're not seeing a lot of the same ones over and over again. Now, this deck of cards, I know when I play, I'm going to go through this entire deck of cards, but the order they come out can actually change things up. And every time you advance in your chapter, you're still leaving the previous cards in. So this deck's just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. So much good stuff in this game. Absolutely love it. Okay, Cody Scale. You know what? I want to play this game again. As soon as I'm done here, I'm probably going to play this game again before I turn this off. I'm going to give this game, I'm rating it an 8. I think this is a phenomenal game. There's an expansion out there for this game that I know of that's going to add 3 more chapters to this game. I would love to get those 3 chapters and play through those because this game is just so good. I would love to see more come out for this game, and I just want to keep playing it. Absolutely fun. Love it. Like I said, this is an 8. Thank you once again for joining us today on The Discriminating Gamer. We please ask that you like this video on YouTube, on Board Game Geek, on Facebook, on X. We also please ask that you subscribe to us on all of those platforms. Click the notification button so you get notified whenever we drop new videos. And also, ladies and gentlemen, leave us a comment on those platforms as well. We love to hear from you guys. You know, whether it's talking about our bad jokes, whether it's talking about this game, or anything. It doesn't really matter. We try to respond as fast as we can. And also, ladies and gentlemen, if you like the content that we provide you here, we humbly ask you to click on the Super Thanks button and leave a tip. So if Apple owned a dance stadium, would it be called the Macarena?
Okay, here we go. Oh, a 1. So a 4.
4 and a 2?
Yeah, 4 and a 2.
Oh, yeah!
That's crazy.